let's go to Past Bandrew and walk through my current processing for my podcast. Now we are in my DAW and I have opened up my podcasting template and I will walk you through the processing signal path that I do. The signal chain has gotten a bit more simplified since the last time I did this, and I am just playing around, trying to see what I like and experiment with new processing options, new types of compressors to see if I like one better than the other, and this is what I am currently using. First up, I have RX10 mouth declick. All this is doing is removing a bit of those disgusting mouth clickies because I find them repulsive. I will go ahead and output the clicks only so you can hear what it's actually removing from the recording. As you could hear, there wasn't much going on. It is not the most noticeable thing, but to my ears, it just makes it a bit more pleasant and a bit less repulsive to listen to the recording. Next up, I have FabFilter Pro Q3, and I am sure people will be furious with me for having such a nice EQ plugin that I do nothing with. All I have on this plugin is a 65 Hz high-pass filter at 12 dB per octave. This removes unnecessary low-end rumble and just cleans up the recording a bit. If I was smart, I would be using a free plugin for this, but I purchased this a while back, and I'm going to use this over other plugins. I don't do much with it. Next, I have the FabFilter Pro G, which is a gating plugin. I use this more as an expander to try to lower the noise floor just a little bit. I have looped a portion of this sample where I am not speaking so we can hear how much of the noise floor it decreases. I will play this short snippet without the gate engaged, and then play it with the gate engaged, and you should hear quite a drastic change in the noise floor. First without, and then with. So you should have heard that noise floor decrease quite significantly. Let me go ahead and expand this loop so that it includes some speaking so you can hear that it shouldn't be cutting off any of my voice. It shouldn't have that really obnoxious gating artifacting that you hear where words are cut off. First without, and then again with. That is all that you are getting. That is all that you are getting. So it does have a touch. You can hear when the gate does open and close, but it is quite subtle compared to a lot of other gates that I've heard. And this is on every single podcast. Next is likely the biggest change for me. For years, I have used the LA2A compressor. I am now testing out and trying the 1176 compressor. I am using a preset and I just fine-tune the input and output to try to get the sound that I want, to try to get the level of compression that I want. This only has a ratio of 2. I'll play the sample without and then with the compressor so you can hear how much compression it's adding. If you're watching the video, you can look at the VU meter and see how much gain reduction we're getting. All right, this is a quick test. This is the Mojave MA200 recording directly into Logic Pro, and that is the sample that you are getting. That is all that you are getting. In case you weren't watching the video, I'm getting around 3 to 5 dB of gain reduction, so that's probably a bit more aggressive than I would have historically used, but I'm just playing around, testing the limits of this compressor. Where does it get too aggressive? Where does it become too noticeable? Where is the real sweet spot for this show? So that's what I am currently using. And the last plugin on the chain is FabFilter Pro DS. Nothing has changed here, really. I am still just using this to remove the sibilance. Sometimes I engage it, sometimes I don't, because I don't want to become too acclimated to having DS to audio all of the time, because otherwise everything is going to sound sibilant to me. Again, I'll play the sample without the plugin and then with the plugin engaged so you can hear what it's doing to the audio. All right, this is a quick test. This is the Mojave MA200 recording directly into Logic Pro, and that is the sample that you are getting. That is all that you are getting. All right, this is a quick test. This is the Mojave. It just tames those S's a little bit and makes them slightly less sharp. And on the Mojave MA200, which has a lot of top end, it does tame that quite a bit. We're getting about 3 dB of reduction there. And the final plugin that I have is on my stereo output. This is the SSL G bus compressor. Is this necessary? No. I have 2 tracks in my podcast. I have my spoken word and then the intro-outro music. I do not need to glue tracks together because there's 2 of them and they're not meant to sound like the same track. It's not meant to be glued together, but I just do this because why not? I use a preset Richard Chaike mix glue, and I'm getting very minimal compression. I will play it without and then with the mix glue. All right, this is a quick test. This is the Mojave MA200 recording directly into Logic Pro, and that is the sample that you are getting. That is all that you are getting. It doesn't do much. And the final step of processing that I do is loudness normalization, which is something that a lot of podcasts still need to learn about. I used to use Auphonics desktop app, which was great. It's not supported on Apple Silicon, and now I use Mac Studio, which has Apple Silicon. So I had to find another solution. I'm using iZotope RX. They have a plugin called Loudness Control, and I just use their preset podcast delivery, true peak of -1 dB, integrated LUFS of -16, and a tolerance of 0.5 LU, and I render it, and it gives me a final product of around -16 LUFS, which is perfect for the stereo podcast that I publish. I will now play the unprocessed and then the processed audio so you can hear the difference. All right, this is a quick test. This is the Mojave MA200 recording directly into Logic Pro, and that is the sample that you are getting. That is all that you are getting. Yum, water is good. Welcome back to current Bandrew for me, past Bandrew for you, but closer to your present than the past Bandrew that you just listened to.